back to another exciting shoulder day. Starting off with, you guessed it, side laterals. Decided to do them downstairs, plenty of dumbbells down here. Side laterals, I don't go too heavy anyway. So, a little change of scenery. Started off with the 30s. Actually, technically, I started off with the 20s. Quick little warm up. I did that twice. Jumped to the 30s. 30s is usually where I feel most comfortable. Occasionally, I'll go up to 35. I think today I went up to 40, which years past, I could get up to 50s and 60s, but then it's really just throwing the weight, really not getting a good contraction. So I feel that the 30s, the 35s, even the 40s, like I said, I did today, that's a good range for me, for my size. Other guys I see that are half my size throwing up the 50s, and I see that they have horrible form. And then again, I've seen other guys half my size have really strict form with my same weight. So it doesn't really matter what anybody else is doing. It matters what you're doing and what you're comfortable with and what you're trying to accomplish. If you want to look like Rich Piana and throw around heavy side laterals, go for it. If you want to have a slow, strict rep, then that's usually what I go for. Not saying that one works better than the other, but for me, I feel that the slow and steady works a little bit better for the side laterals, just because it's not a heavy movement. It's not pressing. It's not deadlifts. It's not squats. It's one of the smaller muscles that you have, and it's, in my opinion, it's better to have a little bit more strict form with those. Well, this, I'm doing rear delts, which I haven't shown you what it looks like when I do rear delts with the dumbbells, but here it is. Occasionally, I'll put my foot on a bench, but with here, I had plenty of room to do the rear delts where I could put my foot up, because there was only one other person down there, technically a couple, but they were all doing cardio. So that's what I'm doing. I wasn't getting anybody's way. Know your gym. If you go to a Planet Fitness at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're probably not going to be able to do this. But with the rear delts, you try and concentrate on, you guessed it, your rear delt. If you're feeling a little bit too much in your traps, then that might be something that you're probably throwing around too much weight, and it's probably because you're not having strict form, so you're bringing your shoulder blades together instead of just moving your arms. So just concentrate a bit more on what that looks like. After the rear delts, went upstairs, and I know I haven't showed you this machine yet. This is for the shoulder press, obviously. But this is a great exercise. This is a great machine. I don't do it as often. I'd rather go to the Smith machine or do the dumbbells, or there's another machine where I actually face forward with it. But I just want to show you different ways that you can do the same body part. And this machine actually does work pretty well. So I'm going to throw it back in. Haven't done it in a while. Mostly just because I sometimes I just don't even think of it. I'm already halfway through my set with the Smith machine, so I end up just staying there, or maybe I already have the dumbbells, or maybe I just don't feel like loading up this much weight. So with the pressing, it's got to be done, but it's less important in my opinion than laterals, or when you're doing the bent over rears. It's definitely more important than fronts. Fronts I sometimes don't even do on shoulder day, just because you hit your front delt so often when you do chest, especially when you do an incline. A lot of times it's not as necessary. Of all three, it's definitely the least necessary, but still like to do it, and I'm going to show you again what it looks like when I do that, and I'm going to do that right now, jumping on the cables. You can do this a number of different ways. You can do it with a 45 in your hand straight up and down. You can do it with a barbell. You can do it with a camber bar. You can do it with dumbbells, or you can do it like I'm doing it. I'm doing it with the cables. With this, I'm able to put my hands whichever direction I want, just like you were holding a dumbbell. And not saying that this is any better of a contraction than if you were palms facing down. And I'll show you probably next time what it looks like with your palms facing up, which Charles Glass, I saw him, he was training somebody and he had them do it that way. This was probably 15 years ago now, but I like that, but I always like to switch it up. So sometimes I'll have my palms facing in, facing down, facing up. Today, facing in. With the cables, I don't go all the way down, and I try not to with the dumbbells as well, just because I feel that you're losing tension. when you go right down to your sides. The cables help keep the tension a little bit when you first start lifting it up, but with the dumbbells, definitely keep them. I'm not even sure the degree. I'm not even gonna bullshit you. Just try not to have your dumbbells go all the way by your side, just because that's gonna lose tension in it. And the whole idea of going lighter and having a decent amount of reps is to keep that constant tension. After front raises, went over to some more sides. Like I said, sides are the sides, that is your delt. That's what everybody sees when you're walking, when you're walking away from someone, when you're walking towards someone, that's what gives you that width. So side laterals are very important. This machine I do like. I probably should have just went back and did some more dumbbells, but just wanted to switch it up. This machine is good and you can really get a good pump from it, but I feel the dumbbells are just a little bit better, so why not do the better movement? So I'll throw this back in. A lot of times it's just keeping your mind occupied, doing something so you're not getting bored, so you're not staying stagnant with your exercise. You want to keep your body guessing, even though you're doing basically the same thing. It's more about keeping your mind fresh. So with shoulders, used to be my favorite exercise. Probably every body part at one point was my favorite. Originally first started with arms when I was 6 years old, and then legs when I was in high school, and then shoulders for a short period, and back for most of my life. And now it's made itself back over to arms. That's what happens when you do arm wrestling. You want to get better, you want to get bigger, you want to get stronger, and that's what it is. So once again, I am ending my shoulder workout with some shrugs. Trying to lift the weights pretty much as high as I can with still keeping strict form. I wouldn't even see a gentleman at another gym. He was 76 years old at that time. He's probably my size where I am in this video. He was probably a good 230, 240, and he was literally 76 years old, and he was in hell of a good shape. And he actually showed me, he's like, listen, don't just move your shoulders. Try and lift the weights up as high as you can towards your armpits, essentially. It works because especially at the bottom of the movement, it gives a nice little stretch. And then you're getting that extra squeeze at the top that you normally wouldn't by just moving your shoulders. So give it a try. I feel it works pretty well, but try and not get a bicep pump. By the last set, that's what was happening, which ideally, of course, that's not what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're trying to train the body part that you're trying to train and not incorporate other ones into it. But with this one, it was, I'm not going to say unavoidable. It's just the way that I was doing it. Maybe I was lifting them a little too hard, but it almost felt like I was doing biceps by the end, even though my traps were nice and pumped. So exercise does work, but just be a little cautious on that. And talk to you soon.